Hi there, it is Jo from Minerva. Welcome to our sewing tutorials. Today I'm looking at what to test before you sew. Sometimes if you're trying out a new fabric or a new technique, then it's a really good idea to test that technique on a really small scale first. That way, when you're doing it in your project, it won't be the first time that you're doing it, and hopefully you'll have picked up some tips along the way. I think sewers maybe can be put into two camps of people who pre-wash and people who don't pre-wash their fabrics before they sew them, but it really does depend on what your fabric is. So you'll need to be getting as much information as you can from the website description. So take a look at the fabric, have a look at the substrate content. So if it's got cotton in it, then you'll need to pre-wash it. If it's got wool in it, you'll need to pre-wash it. So if it's got a natural fibre, you might need to pre-wash. Also, learning from experience, viscose will also shrink as well. So I've made a dress once and it was great, and then I washed it for the first time and then it was a little bit tight around the arms afterwards. So you might need to really think, do I need to pre-wash this fabric or can I just use it on its own? You can cut a little square, measure it, put it in the washing machine, take it out, measure it again, and you'll know if it's shrunk. Sometimes if you pre-wash your fabric, you'll change the texture of it. So you need to be aware if you've got something like a silk or a wool content, you want to see if the texture changes after you've washed it. The good thing about doing a small test of a pre-wash of your fabric is it might actually change your mind about the pattern that you're going to tackle. So if you pre-wash a piece of fabric and it comes out and it's really creased and crinkly, and when you press it you don't quite get the same finish, then you might change your mind about your pattern and you might switch to something else. At the moment I'm working on a coat, so I've got a vegan wool coating and I had no idea how to wash this. I wasn't sure about whether to pre-wash it because I didn't want it to pill at all. So I decided to think about the outcome of my jacket. So it's a men's coat that I'm making. I was thinking, how many times am I actually going to wash that? I would probably take it to dry cleaners, or I would spot clean it around the cuffs. So I didn't pre-wash this fabric and it's kept it in that really nice crisp state, which has been perfect for tailoring. So think about how you're going to wash, dry and press your item after you finish making it too. Once you've pre-washed your fabric, you would want to maybe do a press test afterwards. So I cut out a 2-inch square of my coating fabric and then I pressed it and used some steam as well. And when I measured it again, it hadn't shrunk, and I used a press cloth first, then I did a piece without a press cloth. When I didn't use a press cloth, the heat was too much for the fabric and it sort of melted it and it sort of bonded together the little fuzzy fibres on the outside. So straight away I found out something really important. Yes, I can iron it with a press cloth and I could use my clapper as well. When I pressed it without the iron, it wasn't a great finish. So straight away, I've already saved one issue from sewing my coat. If you do find that adding steam to your fabric does shrink it a little bit, then instead of a pre-wash, you can do a pre-steam. So you can take your whole piece of fabric before you've cut it out and you can steam press the whole of the piece of fabric, and then you will get any sort of shrinkage or any sort of changes in the fibres done before you cut out. You might want to test a marking tool on your fabric. So I put a T for test in the chalk pencil that I like to use on my fabric, and I wanted to see if that will come out because there's a lot of markings on my jacket. There's buttons, lapel placements, pockets, pocket flaps, epaulets, loads and loads of details. And if I put them on the inside, they're not always in the place that I need them to be if I'm sewing from the right side. So I wanted to test my marking tool. So you could try your tailor's chalk or your chalk pencil, or if you've got a lighter colour fabric, you might want to just test with a air erasable pen or water resisting pen, but just to make sure that it comes off afterwards. This had a T on the other side and I took that off with a piece of cotton, like a piece of press cloth cotton, damp, and I just rubbed the fabric, and then when I ironed it, the T came off and the T was like this when I started. So straight away, I'm thinking, great, I can put all my markings on from the right side. And it did actually save a bit of time because I didn't need to tailor's tack everything then. I could use the chalk and I knew I wouldn't spoil the finish of the outer of the coat. Next, you might want to think about sewing your fabric. So I've got quite a thick fabric at the moment, but you might have something really sheer or fine or a fabric that you've not used before. And it's a really good idea to test this under your machine. You might need to add a new needle. If your needle's been in there for some other projects or different projects, or you've used a stretch needle or a sharps needle or a jeans needle, you might want to make sure that the needle you choose for your project is going to help you to sew your seams. I just started gently through one piece of fabric. So I was just finding out there my stitch length. Because it's quite thick and felty, I changed my stitch length to 3. So that gave me that answer. And then I started to work on 2 layers, and it went through 2 layers really well. Stitch length 3, and my new needle was absolutely fine. And then I started to think about my coat construction. I'd read the instructions and I knew that in some places I would have the front of the coat, the back of the coat, and the pocket welts and some pocket tabs. So I knew I'd be trying to go through a lot of different layers. So before I started chewing my coat under the machine and getting really cross with it, before I started the sew, I made a test of lots and lots of layers. I did find with lots of layers, the layers were shifting around a little bit. So then I put my walking foot on and tried again. And I found that when I got lots and lots of layers, my walking foot, stitch length 3, new needle, the thread that I'd chosen was all working fine. That was a great test. On other parts of my jacket, I would have top stitching. So I wanted to test top stitching. I wanted to check that my foot wasn't going to press the fabric and create a little fold where I wanted to top stitch. So I got a really nice top stitching line there, and that also helped me to find my eye spot on my foot. So when I wanted that 6mm top stitching, I looked on my foot, where will I need to run the edge of my foot, and how will I help myself to get a really straight line. I also wanted to check what would happen to my seam edges. So this is a seam pressed open. I did it with my clapper, and I haven't used my clapper very much, so I was really just getting a little bit of practice in. I used a steam cloth, steamed through my iron, took my iron off just so that the heat was in the fabric and in the steam cloth, and then when I put the clapper on top, the wood helped the steam to stay in the seam, and I got a really nice press, especially for a really thick fabric. So I got a good seam on the outside, and then I started to think about the inside. How was I going to finish these seam edges? And actually, all of these little tests that I did, none of it frayed at all. So if you're using a fabric and even while you're doing the test pieces, it's starting to fray, then you might start to think about, right, how am I going to stop this happening during my sew? So you might zigzag around all the edges of your pieces, or overlock, or zigzag the 2 seam edges together. Those are all the decisions you can make if you do a little test piece, because once you start making your garment, if it's starting to fray while you're sewing it, then you start to lose some of your seam lines, and also your clothes won't have so much longevity. You might want to think about if your project has any special features. So if it has buttons, a placket, where you might need to put buttonholes in your fabric, you might want to test one of those. I've got more than one buttonhole on my machine, so I tested a few on my fabric to see which one really bound the edges well. If you've got a finer fabric, you'll definitely want to practice that before you start. You can also work out things like which interfacing stick to the fabric really well, how much stiffener you will need in a placket or a cuff band or any sort of extra detail collars and things like that. You know, if you over stiffened a collar and then it ended up being like this, then you'd be really disappointed. And really, if you just tested a little bit before you started, you'd get the interfacing that you need. So I tried a buttonhole. It was really good, and although the buttonhole itself didn't bring up any new information for me, I did find out that I couldn't use my seam ripper to cut it open. It was too thick, the fabric was too thick. So I hunted out my buttonhole cutter, my little buttonhole chisel, and that cut through the fabric really well. So all of these things mean that I can go into my coat making without having lots of mistakes and trial and error and things going wrong on my actual garment. It's a really good idea to test little parts of your sewing before you start. It probably takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it's 30 minutes really well spent. You might find that 30 minutes pays you back in spades if you find out something really important that helps you to change your pattern and make it an easier sew. So when I've cut out the welts for a double welt pocket on the inside of the jacket, I interfaced them like the pattern said, I folded them in half, but really it's such a thick fabric. I mean, it's possible, but I'm never going to enjoy trying to get this double thickness of fabric into a double welt inside pocket. So actually from that little test, although it took me 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I've saved myself a lot of time trying to put a welt pocket in with fabric that isn't really suitable. What I could do is I could swap this fabric out for something else so that my welt pocket was in an interfaced cotton. So it would still have a stabilised welts at the top of my pocket, but I don't think that this fabric is going to do what I think it's going to do in the pattern. I am wearing Stoff France cotton, so it's a really small ditzy print in red and green. It's got pleats in the back, side pockets. It's really nice sort of collar that's really easy to do. It doesn't have a collar at the back, it just goes round to nothing there. So if you've not made collars before, it's a great way of making a shirt dress without having really tricky collars. It's called the sorrel dress and it's really great in either viscose or cotton. Hope you enjoyed today's video and it's just given you a few ideas of things you could try. We would love to see you over at Minerva. If you can make an account and share your makes, that would be superb. We love to see what everybody has been making, what they've been choosing, which patterns they've been pairing with which fabrics. They're always of interest to our sewing community. You can also check out some other videos on this Minerva YouTube channel, or you can go over to Minerva's thread and watch them through there. Thank you very much for watching. Do call again soon.